Why you can feel completely alone, surrounded by people. You answered messages all day, you spoke to people, you smiled, you attended the meeting, you solved the problem. Someone brought to you at the wrong moment. You had dinner with your family, you said the right things. And yet, when the house finally became quiet, when the last obligation was done, and there was nothing left that needed you, you still felt alone. Not because nobody was there, because something was missing that all of them together could not supply. How is that possible? The most common understanding of loneliness is wrong. Not completely wrong, but wrong enough to prevent most people from understanding what they are actually experiencing. Loneliness is not simply the absence of people. It is not a number you can correct by adding more relationships to the list. It is not solved by a full calendar, a busy weekend, or a phone that never stops producing notifications. Loneliness is a subjective state, a felt experience of disconnection that can exist in the middle of a crowd as easily as it can exist in an empty room. And for a significant number of adults, the most painful version of loneliness is not the obvious kind. It is the kind that nobody sees. The loneliness of someone who appears from the outside to have everything a person could need: the partner, the friends, the family, the full life, and still goes to bed some nights feeling completely unknown. To understand why this is possible, it helps to understand something about what the human brain was built to need. The brain did not evolve in isolation. Human beings are among the most deeply social animals on Earth, not simply in behavior, but in neurobiology. The nervous system of a human being is exquisitely sensitive to the presence, absence, and quality of connection with other people. Researchers, including John Cacioppo, who spent decades studying loneliness and the brain, found that perceived loneliness, the subjective feeling of being socially disconnected, regardless of the actual number of relationships, is associated with measurable differences in stress physiology, sleep, immune function, and the way the brain processes social information. The key word is perceived. What matters to the brain is not simply how many people surround you. What the brain is continuously monitoring is something more fundamental. Do I belong here? Am I safe with these people? Am I known? These are not philosophical questions the brain asks consciously. They are constant, automatic, largely unconscious assessments running beneath the surface of every social interaction. And the answers determine not just how you feel in the moment, but how your nervous system operates over time. Being seen is not a luxury. For the human brain, it is a biological need. Now consider how most adult relationships are actually structured. You are an employee, a manager, a partner, a parent, a reliable friend, the one people call when something needs to be handled. These roles are real. The people in them genuinely matter to you. The interactions are often warm, even loving, but the interactions are largely organized around the role. The colleague knows you as capable. The children know you as present, providing, protecting. The friends know you as fun, or wise, or steady. The partner knows the version of you that shows up for the life you have built together. And within all of these relationships, some of them genuinely close, there is often a person that almost nobody ever fully encounters. Not because anyone is being cruel, but because no one has been invited in that far. Because the invitation was never issued, because somewhere along the way, showing only the functional version became the habit. You can be surrounded by people who know your name, and still feel invisible to every one of them. There is a particular identity that many adults develop without deciding to: the strong one, the one who copes, the one people come to, not the one who goes to others, the one who handles things. It often develops gradually, reinforced by genuine competence and the needs of the people around you. And after long enough, something subtle begins to shift. People stop asking how you really are, not because they don't care, but because you have consistently communicated through steadiness, through reliability, through never quite fully showing difficulty, that you are fine, that you don't need asking, and eventually the habit goes both directions. Not only do people stop asking, you stop knowing how to answer. The question, "How are you really doing?" becomes genuinely difficult, not because the answer is too painful to share, but because somewhere in the years of being the strong one, you lost the habit of even asking it of yourself. The mask of competence is one of the loneliest places a person can live, not because it is false, but because it is incomplete, and what you cannot show cannot be met. In recent decades, the way adults connect with each other has changed in ways that do not always serve the kind of connection the brain is actually looking for. The average adult now has more social contact than at almost any previous point in human history. Messages arrive continuously. Conversations happen across dozens of platforms. The friend in another country is reachable instantly. The number of people who know roughly what you are doing this week is larger than at any point in human history. And the data consistently suggests that adults in the most connected societies on Earth report some of the highest levels of loneliness. The relationship between contact and connection is not what most people assume. Contact can be constant. Connection requires something contact alone cannot provide. It requires presence, not the presence of a body in a room, the presence of genuine attention, one person's full awareness actually meeting another person's full reality. 100 brief, distracted, role-organized interactions do not add up to one conversation where someone truly sees you. The brain is not counting exchanges. It is asking whether any of them actually arrived. Constant contact can be the most sophisticated way to avoid genuine connection, always available, never fully present. Research in social neuroscience and attachment has consistently pointed towards something that might be called emotional safety as a precondition for genuine closeness. Feeling known, feeling that another person has some accurate understanding of who you actually are, not just the role you perform, has a measurable effect on the nervous system. It changes how the brain processes threat. It changes how the body holds stress. It changes the quality of sleep, the experience of pain, the sense of having resources to draw on when things become difficult. Human beings are not simply social in the sense of preferring company. They are social in the sense that genuine connection with another person changes the biology of the experience of being alive. And the absence of that connection, the subjective sense that no one truly sees you even when everyone is around, activates threat systems in the brain in ways that are measurable and real, not imaginary, not self-indulgent, biological. So what does genuine connection actually require? Not more conversations, not more time in the same room, not more messages. What the research and clinical experience both point toward is something simpler and more demanding than any of these. To be known, some part of you must be shown. not performed, shown. There is a difference between telling someone about your life and allowing someone to encounter who you actually are inside it. The second requires a willingness to be seen in a state of incompleteness, of uncertainty, of something other than capable. It requires the ability to say, with some honesty, that something is hard, that you don't know, that you are struggling with something you haven't yet resolved, that you feel something you haven't entirely explained to yourself. This is not easy for someone who has spent years being the strong one, not because vulnerability is weakness, but because it requires letting go of the one identity that has felt most reliable. The gap between being known and being seen is not closed by showing more of your life. It is closed by showing more of yourself. And here is something worth sitting with: the loneliness you feel on the nights when everyone was there, that particular hollowness of a full day that still left you empty, may not be a verdict on your relationships. It may be information about what those relationships have not yet been invited to hold. Not because the people in your life are incapable, but because the invitation was never issued, because you did not know how to issue it, because the habit of competence had been running so long that showing something other than functional had become genuinely unfamiliar. The loneliness may not be asking for more people. It may be asking for one relationship, even one conversation, where you no longer have to perform being fine. Return one final time to the ceiling. 2 hands, 2 fingers, the gap. For all of this series, the gap has represented different things. The distance between neurons, the space between knowing and becoming, the reach from one version of yourself toward another. In this episode, the gap is the invisible distance between being surrounded by people and being truly seen. It is the space between the version of yourself that everyone encounters, capable, present, reliable, performing the life you have built, and the version underneath that has not been witnessed in years, perhaps decades, not because it disappeared, because it was never shown. Michelangelo left that gap open deliberately, not as a failure to connect, as the space where something real could pass. Perhaps loneliness was never asking for more people. Perhaps it was always asking for one moment where you no longer had to hide. One conversation where the whole version of you could arrive. One relationship where being known felt safe enough to risk. The gap is still there, not as evidence of failure, as the space between the self that has been performed and the self that is still waiting to be fully met.
Every neuron remembers, every thought changes you, every choice rewrites you. The gap is still there, the spark is still crossing. So become.